Hello. Hi, Angela, Stephen, and all of you who are there. I'm very glad to have you here. Now to discuss about results of out-of-body experience techniques. It's going to be a very productive discussion, I'm sure, because that is something that's not always so easy for us to accomplish well, meaning to do a technique and to be successful in all different aspects. Um, I do not know how many of you are already there. So it's a big Saturday for me. It's 5:30 p.m. I am in Brazil, but I know some of you. Tuscany, Stephen is there with me from Tuscany, and some other of you from Canada, like Angela and other places. So I would love to know how many could participate in the live exercise I did last weekend. Um, it was an interesting exercise because throughout the development of it, I kept having different energy perceptions, and I hope you all could follow. One of the situations that I had there is that I ended up having to close completely the environment so that there would be no noise from outside, and then my audio got a little muffled. Let me know if that was a problem for you guys, that the audio was not so sharp. Could you hear me well there in the live exercise or in the edited version that I have published? So Eretiel could not be with us live. Eretiel. Hi, Maurier. Nice to see you here. Michael. So you did not, but did you try afterwards the technique? I would love to hear your feedback, because so that I can adjust for next time, be better prepared. I'm used to do this for so long and even online, but when I'm traveling, not always I have completely control of the circumstances. There was one time I was in the house of a friend in Los Angeles, and she has superb internet connection. Yet my audio and video were terrible during the live talk. Why? Well, sometimes these things are amazing. Stephen could do online and also the recorded version, right, Stephen? Angela said you could hear well, even though the audio was a little muffled, like. Good. Could you guys tell me if you could sense the technique, I mean, sense energy and sense the different phases? Let me tell you what was my strategy and why I devised the technique in that way. There are so many different perspectives and strategies that we can use into an out-of-body experience technique in order to reach the disconnection from the body. But one of the things that are key for us to have control, so I'm talking about controlling the disconnection. I'm talking about doing it at will, understanding what's going on, learning the phenomena. And one of the key factors for that, if not the highest variable that you have to take into consideration, is the condition of your energy body, how your energy is flowing, which level of density your energy body is. Density, sometimes people think of positive, not positive. It's light or dense, like in this sense. No, I mean the actual meaning of density. Sometimes we have a higher quantity of energy and the way it is flowing and the intensity of the frequency. All of that will make a big difference. Why is it that sometimes you and your view would pick a technique? Maybe you just heard, oh, interesting, I feel like I can do it now. You know what? I'm going to try it. But sometimes you go, first of all, you go with a lot of motivation. That is very important. But secondly, sometimes for different reasons, maybe even the motivation, the energy gets more loosened. The energy, I mean our energy field, which is therefore the energetic interface that connects us to our astral body. And when the energy is more fluid, it's in a way more loosened, less with less contaminations in the field, in the area. It's so much easier. And this is why sometimes one technique works in one given evening, but maybe you try in another evening on another day, and then it does not work so well. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to sense how the beginning of the disconnection from the body happens. So you would be able to sense your energies, control it. If you can control the aspects that we have discussed in the exercise that I gave, that we have tackled, then you will be like 80% on the way to disconnecting from the body. And we can adjust how intense the connection is. We can adjust which part of the body will disconnect first. We can tackle so many different aspects of the experience when we can observe the progress. And the progress always goes through the loosening of the energy, which sometimes happens in 2 seconds. So it's like you are lying down and all of a sudden you are feeling like you fall, and then you are like in a turmoil, in a turbulence. Have you ever had that? Like, boom, and even surprises us. But why is it that this may happen like all of a sudden? Like, shoot, all of the sensations come and you are spinning and turning. Of course, you are not. Not even your astral body is spinning and turning. What's happening is that the energy is so lucid that it turns, it flows, and that's how our brain interprets. But why is it that sometimes it happens fast like that? Because the energy was predisposed to disconnect. But if you or myself, same, if we are with the energy a little bit more stuck, maybe our minds is somewhere else, or we have been very focused on something else, or perhaps there are some intoxication of energy in our field, like some aspects that causes the chakra not to be so open. And it's not only a matter of being open, but it's a matter of being open and healthy, open in a good way. But anyways, sometimes when it's not super ideal, it may take a while, and it can be a long while, even like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, for the energy component to adjust, for this energetic interface to adjust. When we are so relaxed that you lie down, and you even fall asleep, or you relax very quickly, we can expedite this process. But if you are conscious, like we were and we wanted to be in the guided OBE technique, and you are observing each step and you are controlling each step, and you want to observe, otherwise you will disconnect from the body, but you won't experience it. You will be unconscious. So you want to be conscious, you want to control. Then, when the energy is not super loosened, and we may have some energy like intoxications, but in a sense of foreigners' energies attached to our field, it may take a while. So it may require that we work with our energies to put that in perfect conditions. So then what I did was to guide you through observing your energies, trying to loosening it up, cleansing the energy field, cleansing your environment, cleansing as much as possible the energy around you, and then to put yourself in a condition in which your attention was more on the non-physical aspects, so your energy gravitating around and loosen, and the freedom that we can feel only from sensing our energy loosen. And if you keep paying attention into that, your mind is quiet, your body is relaxed. I guarantee you, it's just a matter of for how long you are going to wait, because you will end up disconnecting lucidly from the body. But most people, when they are lucid, they don't relax enough, or the energies are not loosened enough. But sometimes the energies were put into the right condition. The relaxation is not enough. But when they relax enough, they lose consciousness, fall asleep. So that was what I was trying to help you to go through and learn. Because techniques that will give you step by step, do this, do that, and we trick the brain, there are many, and I am super happy in doing different ones here in different periods of time. If you want, you let me know. But learning this aspect of the disconnection, that is what is most difficult. So that's what I wanted to help you with. Would Stephen, you tell us how it was in your case? Perhaps you write it down. Unfortunately, we have no way of opening an audio here, right? Maybe you tell me how it was so I can follow and give you tips to all of you, of course. Just asking Stephen because he said he could do it. Angela was also live, right? I think all of you who are here with me joined live. Only Eretiel could not do the exercise. So Studio Loba was with us. Eretiel couldn't try yet. You learn a lot about the energy disconnection there. And then Stephen. For the first time in my life, I experienced my energy body. Oh, that is very valuable, Stephen. I hope you could sense it and sense like the different degrees of functioning of the energy body. Because sometimes it's more active in one area of our bodies than another. Sometimes we are more sensitive in specific parts. Sometimes we just sense that overall connection with our energy and awareness. And that is, in my opinion, sometimes as worth as leaving the body. Because if we just leave the body, but our lucidity is not at best, at peak, and we are going to have a regular experience, a very lucid experience of the energy body, of the functioning of the body, and how it is connected with us here, I mean, with our physical bodies, that can be so valuable, so valuable. Have you been practicing Velo, Stephen? That makes a huge difference. When we practice Velo a lot, sometimes once you learned how to sense it, you just lie down and the energy will start getting loosened and will start getting activated. And just because you have been practicing Velo and you are already used to the sensation, you will start registering this effect and being aware of the energy body, like naturally, spontaneously. And there is a good chance. If you take a look, I have one video that I think I named like customized out of body experience technique or Nancy's technique, something like that, because that's a technique I created for me, but long ago. I was maybe, 15, 17. And I created that technique for this moment when you spontaneously start sensing the energy body and any sort of activity there. So you can use that sensation and that awareness to trigger a disconnection from the body, to trigger a higher awareness of the astral body in the astral dimension. Wonderful. Thank you, Stephen. Studio Loba is telling us, I felt the energy a lot. I felt the energy moving like waves in the sea. Very nice. Like you were in the ocean, right? Super nice. Great. Let's see, Angela. What was the reason to project energy out of the third eye chakra? Was, I suppose, to hold a steady projection or pulse the energy? No, the reason why I did that, of course, it is going to bring different effects. But the reason why I did at that moment, with that intensity and using that strategy, is because it may favor our lucidity for longer when we are still inside the body, aiming at living, but also outside. Sometimes when we are projected, it may be a little bit hard for us to see accurately, almost like our vision is out of focus. And it may be due to like an accumulation of energy in the area of the third eye, so here in the frontal area. So when we stimulate this area, it may predispose our awareness of each step. So that's why I did in that day. But sometimes I am doing my technique and I may stimulate different chakras for different reasons. Sometimes I'm feeling, for example, I could be feeling that there is some heaviness in the chest. So I may want to work with this chakra first. Sometimes I will work with this, and it's very common. Many astral projectors, they try to activate the frontal chakra before leaving the body, because sometimes we even feel that activation. But it's not a pattern. It's not for everybody. It's not in every session. But my idea was this. Did I answer your question? If not, let me know there. We can here have a nice chat today, going back and forth. Stephen is complimenting. Yes, that was how I experiencing it, particularly and strongly in my hands, arms, and feet. Nice. I wonder for how long you kept the exercise. Because when we are feeling like that, as I said, it's just a matter of waiting. But sometimes we kind of lose patience. And then if you are there waiting for too long and the sensation is continuing, if you stay, eventually the non-physical body starts disconnecting, especially in these areas that you are feeling more energy. Because we start becoming more aware of the non-physical part of us than the physical one. But sometimes one thing that you can do, Stephen, in a moment like this, if you are there for a long time and you remain relaxed, the energies are activated, you are conscious, but you feel you are stuck, then you can try and use a complementary technique. But a complementary technique must be one that is not going to work in different lines than the process that is already going on. So you are there relaxed, your energies are loosened, and you are sensing the energy. So the best is to use some sort of technique that resorts into this type of sensation and phenomena that we may experience. So you could, for example, think of aiming yourself to be floating at the ceiling, like as high as your ceiling. It's just a thought, but sometimes we are so much concentrated in the sensation in here, and our focus of attention is all the time here, right? So coincided with the brain. When you just think, okay, what about now? I'll be there, I'll go there. No doubt, no pushing, no making effort. It's just a decision. It's just your will. It may work as a complementary technique, so like you do it in steps. So what we have to learn little by little is which technique complements which one. And it's not like I can make a list. This goes well with this. Perhaps I could make a list of which ones do not go well with one another. But the ones that can work well together, it's hard to make a list because there are too many options. But you have to learn to sense in which stage of the disconnection you are so that you know what to do. There may be even a situation in which you think, you know what, I'm going to do velo for as long as necessary. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45, 1 hour, until my energy gets loosened, because I feel it's contaminated. It's like a dark in a way. So I want to cleanse it, to leave the body, or to sleep, whatever. But we do not want to just to let our energies be that way. So those are aspects for us to think of. So I'm just giving you further tips, Stephen, so you can use that. Moye did not practice yet, right, Moye? I hope you try and you share with me how it was. Studio Loba is telling that she felt a lot of energy, but couldn't get out of my body because my dogs were farting a lot and it bothered me. I can imagine, especially when we have animals close by, it can happen. Yeah. Moya chatting with us. Not test the exercise. Very busy, yes, right? We all have been crazy busy, but some of us more. But hope this week, or maybe this weekend, right? We are Saturday. It's Saturday. Maybe you can try it today or tomorrow. One thing that I want to let all of you know is that you should have at least 2 hours spare for that. So with 2 hours, you sit, you're going to watch it, and then it's basically only hearing and following my instructions. It's going to be like 15 minutes instructions because I wanted you to go deeper into that. I could do a 20 minutes and give you a step-by-step technique that you would do by yourself, but the energy process is a learning that you won't find easily with other techniques. So that's why I wanted to go deep. So you reserve like 2 hours whenever you feel like doing it, so that you can have time to hear and then let yourself be there for a moment. Retia was asking, the closest I have been to a lucid disconnection from the body was after doing velo and reaching a vibrational state. Yes, that makes difference, like loosen a lot of energy. But then I felt as if someone started poking me on the head. It startled me and actually hurt. But probably it was not a someone, it was a reaction of your chakra. Because we can sense changes in the energy, like when the disconnection starts, or we observe some areas that are with more accumulated energies. So it can feel strong, sometimes like poking, sometimes like hurt, but it's not a real pain. It's just like how we interpret. Other than that, it could be perhaps an extra physical presence, like a non-physical being, but who? Positive, not so positive, interrupted you. Then you have to see how your energies got after that. All of this can happen. All of this is normal. We should never ever doubt ourselves or be afraid in a condition like that. Hi Israel, how are you doing? I listened to a binaural beat background while doing your most recent meditation, and I thought it was a great and useful addition. Yes, sometimes it helps. It works differently from person to person. So I like using sounds when we work with energy. When it's to leave the body, I find that it may help, it may not. So in group, I don't do it. But if it works for you, that is excellent. Just make sure that it activates your awareness, your brain in a way that allows you to also disconnect from the body, from the brain. For me, the different times that I tried, I had very nice experience, but never got close to an out-of-body experience because that activates my brain, and it doesn't work for me. But I just comment so that you can compare with your experience, Israel, because it's so different from one to another. And if that works, combining it with energy exercise can be an excellent strategy. Perhaps using a very low volume. So in the moment that you are sensing the disconnection, that is not going to pull you back to your body because of course, your brain is receiving some stimuli there, the noise, the sound that's coming. Is that okay, Hunter? Hope so. I have mobile booster. Hello. I really want to try out-of-body experience, but I fear it at the same time. I have had a lot of SP, spontaneous projection, is that what it is, in my life in lucid dreams. That is, you know what? It's easy to understand how you would fear, because when we have had a lot of experiences, and sometimes just spontaneous. Some of them are great. We can be lucid throughout. Some of them, they surprised us. Some of them, maybe they weren't so pleasant. We could have felt like sleep paralysis, or we could have felt some non-physical beings close by, there when we are outside, or close by, like in our environment, when we were still starting to get out. And that, even if we do not remember, tends to create like a mark, an imprint on our brain, on ourselves. And that imprint is so serious because it can be 30 years later, 20 years later, we still react automatically. I can say this because this was my case. This was my case, and it took me a long time to deprogram my automatic reaction because I have had so many experiences. They were all nice, but those that I had in a specific house that I have lived in when I was in my youth. And that was very, very frightening, traumatizing, literally. And because of that, when I was learning techniques, I wanted to control more. I wanted to leave the body. When I was about to leave, I would have an automatic reaction. Not afraid, because I knew what was going on. I have had many experiences, but it's like something that is traumatic. It's like a traumatic disorder, post-stress traumatic disorder. I hope I'm saying correct. And in that case, it is very, very difficult. So you check if that could be for you the same thing. If it is, there are things that you can do. And you have to start with deprogramming step by step. First thing, to sense energy very clearly, like Stephen told us he experienced. So clear that you can notice and observe every detail that is around of you, and you just stay there. So you are still not yet disconnecting, but every sensation that you have can be sensing a chakra, can be doing the velo technique and observing that every sensation you have, that you remain calm, you'll be deprogramming that. That's what I did. For me, it was relatively quick because when I started doing velo with a different name, not as well developed as now, just a technique that it's move your energy up and down, and I started. So even not doing so technically, ideally, so technically correct, I still got a lot of results. So my point is, we can very quickly overcome all of that. And then with the experiences that I started having after I learned this technique and lost that super sensitivity that I had and even some fear, then I started having spontaneous out-of-body experience again, because I used to have a lot. But after that period that I had in my youth, that house was very heavy, then I spent quite a few years without strong, clearly lucid experience. But when I regained that, then that was good because I could understand what was going on. So you try this, Mobile. For all of you, any of you who feels like this automatic reaction, that is a very good strategy. And then Damon is telling us, I think Damon is new here with us, right, Damon? Be welcome. After years of trying velo and not feeling it, I was doing it effectively. Not feeling I was doing it effectively, I found that all that practice made it extremely easy to do velo when I woke up in the vibrational state. That's very nice. So you had been practicing, so probably you were a student of the IAC, the International Academy of Consciousness, right? And then you were practicing. I don't follow quite the punctuation. I will read again if you allow me. Just want to make sure I follow what you are saying. After years of trying velo and not feeling it, maybe years can be the past 3 years, right? and not necessarily so much back in the past. I found that all that practice that you didn't know you were doing correct made it extremely easy to do velo when I wake up in the vibrational state. That's very nice. And you know what? You try to do velo when you are outside the body. Or if you have a lucid dream, try velo then. really moving, with all the strategy and techniques that we study here, that they are the ideal. And you will see how easier it is to sense energy when we are not completely aligned with the body. So one of the challenges that we have is sensing energy while we are sensing the physical body, because one seems so much subtler than the other. But we learn, and once we learn, then it becomes easy. Very nice. Excuse me just for a second, please. Angela is sharing an interesting experience. I was not able to disconnect. 6 hours later, when I lied down, in the same spot that I did the energy exercise, I felt a powerful buzzing along the length of my spine. Wonderful. That lasted about 15 to 20 seconds. I was feeling Was I feeling leftovers of the energy created during the energy exercise? Yes, you were experiencing leftovers or results of the practice that you had done. But let me comment on this, Angela, because there are some details in your description that are very important. Because this powerful buzzing, especially when we feel along the spine, that means that the disconnection of the extra physical body, non-physical body, is starting to happen. But sometimes it's tiny bit. And just by separating a little, we start feeling like electrical waves. It's pleasant, but it can be so strong that it's almost like surprising, scary. You said it lasted only about 15 to 20 seconds. To me, that was like a burst. And sometimes this could be a vibrational state that you felt more intensely in the torso area. But when this happens, normally comes a wave. And if you just wait and stay there, keep relaxed, another wave will come. In 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 20, 25, it will come, I guarantee you. So if you are interested in experiencing that, or very clearly sensing the activity of your energy body, the energetic interface, and experiencing a lucid separation from the body, my suggestion is at that moment you just stay and you let it be. Once it go away, you don't try to produce it. You just be ready for it. But that's so complicated to say, because if you are ready, but inside of you, you are thinking, okay, it may come. I'll be here. I'll be waiting. Then it creates anxiety. How can we be ready? Be open. I think be ready is not the right attitude. Perhaps I will adjust this. I'll say, be open. Be open to the technique, to the experience, to the sensation, and it will happen again. It will happen again, perhaps longer, perhaps more intensely. Perhaps then it happens again for 5, 10 seconds, but then only 40 seconds later, it comes again. And that it's going to be in waves, not only waves moving inside, but also in waves, the way it appears and disappears, like in cycles. So that is a very important sign. And the leftover and the result here is exactly what we are trying to reach when we do velos with the purpose of detaching from the body. So when we do more velos throughout the day, for example, or a longer session before lying down or at the end of the day, supposing, of course, that you are going to try and leave the body when you lie down to sleep. But it can be different hours. It's very important that we try to adjust what's the best hour, because some of us, we may have better results like in the morning at 5 a.m. or maybe in the afternoon in a afternoon nap. So test it. It's so important that we test. But someone who is doing velo, like daily, in a very stable rhythm, so for periods of time, and dedicating, this is what starts happening. And then spontaneous vibrational state will come, and then the disconnection happens more. But then you may wake up in the middle of the night sensing energy. And then you may wake up and then you notice you are already floating, lucid and semi-disconnected, or you are already there in an experience. It helps us to loosen up the energy and be more lucid. That's why I encourage so much velo technique. Besides, it gives us a greater self-defense. I mean greater as compared to what one would have just regular everyday life. Speaking of self-defense, sometimes people would just instinctively maybe think that if you have a shielding, if you shield yourself, that is a good self-defense technique. But not necessarily, because sometimes shielding also shields you out of the world. It's like you have less contact. We want not a shielding, we want a force field. Something like in the cartoons you see, something that protects you, but it's vibrant, it's alive, you connect with others. Your spirit guides can come closer, you can receive energy, you will sense energy from others, but that creates on you so stable energy field that is not so easily penetrable, but that is different than a shield, literal one. Because when we think of a shielding, sometimes we think of something that completely stops anything from coming in, and no energy field can do that. And we wouldn't want it, even if it were possible. Okay? I have Michael. Hi, Michael. I've had the experience a few times of floating, but suddenly feeling like sometimes I was grabbing. I will read again. Here, the font is very small for me because I am only with my laptop that is small. So I will try and get the rhythm of your voice here. I've had the experience a few times of floating, but suddenly feeling like something was grabbing my wrists, and it scared me. Ah, what an interesting experience. Sometimes we feel that, sometimes grabbing our wrists, holding our hands, or sometimes we see like a hand that we know if we go towards it, we will come out. Sometimes we may feel like a touch, for example, in our frontal area or in different parts of the body. And usually it is the action of a non-physical being, but I am referring here to a positive one who is trying to take us out of the body. You have to be ready for these things, all of you, because when something touches you, and it's not because it's dense, believe me, and I promise you, what makes us feel comfortable or uncomfortable is not the clarity, the tangibility of the touch, is the quality of the energy that is there together behind that touch. So if it is a mentor, we are going to feel regular, okay, neutral. If it is someone with not so good intention, it tends to be more like you are in an awe, like you lose a little bit of your lucidity, you feel you have to go, you can't resist, this sort of thing. So I like the way you described because you felt it, but then you got scared. So you could stop it, you could react to it. So it means probably it was not something negative. When it is something negative, no matter if we get scared, if we get lucid of it, what we try to do, it keeps lingering around. And that's why it's so common that in cases similar to this, people have a sleep paralysis after experiences like that. And in sleep paralysis, that we feel there's something around and we want to get out, we want to move. Did you ever have that, Michael? But you didn't have this. At least you didn't describe here. In the way I hear this, it was probably someone trying to help you. So be prepared. Why? Because anytime you, Mike, or anyone who is here would experience anything like this again, you will be able to observe what is behind it, what is the intention, what is the quality of the energy there, what's the feeling. Because by observing it, you will allow something great to come, perhaps, or you will allow yourself to be helped out of the body, or you will learn how to differentiate a positive energy from a non-positive, how you are going to apply your energy in that moment. You guys have the tools. With all the videos I have already produced here and published, you have all the tools. You apply energy. You do your velo. If you are like in a sleep paralysis and sensing that, do velo, emit energy. So there's a lot that we can do. I'm just emphasizing this because it may be a little puzzling, right? Puzzling. We are not expecting something that clear. Nice. So Israel is saying thank you. So probably I understood correctly your question there or your comment. And Michael, what is the best and easiest way to learn velo? I think, Michael, sorry. There is a procedure, right? The procedure is let's move energy inside of our bodies. What is the point or the points that normally are obstacles? We don't sense clearly, so we get in doubt if we are doing it. We want to sense to be absolutely sure the energies are following our command. That's the number one thing. Number two, usually we are in a hurry. Usually we want in a hurry to get results. So our attention is more in the results and in the sensation than on the procedure per se. There is another great obstacle. When we are moving our energies inside, we may touch energy areas that may have some field, some quality of energy there, which causes little of stagnation, like the energy doesn't flow as freely or may have a different feeling, very subtle. It's not a clear thought. Oh, here I have a feeling of energy type A, but here's all type B, and here it's not that clear because our brain has to learn how to clearly grasp the non-physical reality. And we are talking about a type of energy, our human subtle energy, that is not physical. But yes, our brain can get that, absolutely. So what we would like to have here is a condition in which you can concentrate on your energy. Do not generate any sort of anxiety, no self-pressure, but so much attention that it's almost like all the strength of your being, everything is applied on focusing, that's a better word, focusing on your energy that is aligned with your body, therefore is inside, and you want to create pulses going down. And it's a pulse that you do not only emit the pulse. No, it's a pulse that you emit and you go with it, you push it until it reaches the other extremity of your body. So it reached the sole of your feet, it's going to come up. So you pull it back and then you go. And of course, I'm saying pushing and pulling because there is a level of attention, intention, concentration, but it's not physical. The effort's not physical, but it is an effort of our attention. And sometimes we are not used to focus on something that much. Everything we do, we are kind of already mastering. Our life is under control. We know the computer. Oh, you learn something new, but it's not 100% new. When is it that we learn something or gain a skill that for us is absolutely new? It's very rare. Usually one idea leads to another. You learn things in steps. And here, the point with Velo is, I want to learn how to focus on my energy body so that I can apply my will directly there and I can produce effects directly there. Velo is the best technique to help us do that, and the safest. Not only the best, the safest. You have been following, but of course you know how to do Velo, right? Because I have a video there how to do Velo. You probably already heard the basic tips. They are there, but then it's not easy. But why it's not easy? Because of these factors that I mentioned. And we are sensing the physical body, which is so much denser than the energy body. We have to give ourselves time so that the brain starts adapting to register the perception of a body of ours that is not as dense. We have to go through this funnel. Not everyone. Some people, naturally, they are already perceiving energy, but they are the ones that are not mere mortals, right? Because I have felt energy many times in my life, but I did not know what it was. When I start doing the movement of energy under a different name, not as technical, as well described, but it was moving energy inside my body. I did not know what to expect. I did not know how to do. It took me many weeks to start getting the feeling. I share this a lot with you, I think, in the Velo 101 course that I give here. But I am preparing, and just today I was talking to a member of my team that we are going to launch very soon, as we are starting to work on the material. That is a course that I'm going to offer about how to create a multidimensional force field. And that has a very long training with Velo technique. And I will be following you. It takes my participation. So I give follow-ups. So that it's an opportunity. But if I have to pick something to give you as tips and perhaps bring to you a different perspective on how to approach the exercise. So the things that I just mentioned is what I think is most important, or are what I think is most important. Okay, I hope it helped, Michael. AA, I have felt asleep, not in deep sleep, but have felt asleep. So I'm just trying to see if I get the continuation. But could still listen to the guidance. Far, far away. Haven't managed to get a conscious OBE. Andrea, yes, that's so common to happen. That's why in the beginning I said, you make an effort so you don't get distracted while we are in the energy exercise. But what happened is so common. And that's why I was prepared to say, follow the energy exercise. Do your best, put all your effort in it. Because if you follow the energy exercise, you follow all the rest. And I think it's a matter of practice. The way you described it to me was just because you relaxed so much that you kind of lost the focus. The only thing that I'm going to bring here, just like to be triple safe, is make sure that it's not a pattern. What do I mean by being a pattern? So you are going to do Velo, then you feel like you are far away, your mind doesn't focus, you kind of fall asleep or don't follow the exercise, and then you are going to try a different type of technique to control your energies and to be more in contact with perhaps the non-physical dimension, to be more lucid, especially if you are doing something to have higher self-defense, cleanse the environment around yourself. If this is a pattern every time, you have to keep an eye, because sometimes there are some non-physical companions, like presence beings, spiritual beings, that they try to keep us as we are so that we do not escape the field in which we are super connected with them. And that's something that is not good for us. Sometimes they do it with a very lucid idea of what they are doing, but sometimes it's almost like they are attached to a condition of being with us or to a certain state that we remain in, and they try to keep that. Do you understand? Do you follow what I'm saying, AA? If not, you let me know, okay? So wonderful. And yes, I meant sleep paralysis. Ah, so you meant sleep paralysis, mobile. So I good then, because then what I commented was perfect, right? On the spot to what you experience. Could sleep paralysis become in an OBE, like turn into an OBE? Is that what you mean? What you mean, like you are in the sleep paralysis and then you manage to OBE? Yes, absolutely, yes. Actually, it's almost easier if you are in sleep paralysis, because it means you are already disconnected to a point that you are no longer in 100% full natural control of your body. And also that means that you are so relaxed that it's not so prompt that you say, okay, I'm going to move, and you move. So it takes a while. In that tiny fraction of a second there that it takes for the reaction to come, for us in that condition when we are disconnected, seems like a long time. So that's why the sleep paralysis sometimes happens. So if it's not a negative environment around, if what we are sensing is calming, we are there, relaxed, we are confident, we feel we can go ahead, that is an excellent moment. But then you have to apply a technique. It has to be a technique that is compatible. In the beginning of this talk, I do not know if you were here, but I gave a suggestion to Stephen based on his experience, what technique he could use to complement the point that he was, like trying to put your attention somewhere far from where you are. So if you have not heard it, you go to the beginning, and it's right there at the beginning. I think it was the first or second question or comment that I answered. Very nice. Then I see Angela, thank you. I will keep my daily velo practice. I promise you, you won't regret. Angela, nice. Barclay, hi Barclay, nice to see you here. For all of you, thank you, Nancy, and all of you that do and teach, for what you do and teach. I greatly appreciate this. Thank you. I'm so glad you are here with us, Barclay. I don't see so well here my screen, huh? So you guys followed. Forgive me for reading word by word, but I have to really focus. Next time I should have a proper glass, right? Or a pair of glasses that I can see it better. This mere mortal, okay, is finding what you're teaching, and the way you are teaching is so helpful. Oh, that's nice, Stephen. Yes, we need to understand the process there. Thank you so much for your comment. And I think we got at the end of it, because last weekend I was not here live. So, of course, many of us who are always together here probably were not sure I would be here this Saturday. But it's because last Saturday I did the exercise live, and it was important that it would be only for those who are present. But I think I say goodbye then, unless you have a last minute comment or question. Can we say goodbye for now? Wonderful. Thank you so, so much. Enjoy your out of body experience, and keep in mind, sensing your energy in the different phases of the separation from the body is a learning that can value more even than going outside the body in some of the excursions that we do. So I hope to see you in one of your out of body experiences, and we can chat there. Bye bye, Angela Editiel. Thank you. Hi, Demetrius. Thanks for joining. Ciao. Big hug to you all. Bye bye.